Hey everybody, Simpipe here, kind of with video with coming last minute. Uh, chapters chapter 1072 is coming out in a couple days, and some people have already read scans. I do not read scans. I've mentioned that a couple times on this channel, and I will never read scans. So I have not read 1072 because it's not officially out yet. Although it's coming in like 2 days. So, um, but anyways, this is for chapters 1068 to 1071, and I have a ton of notes. I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 full pages of notes. So bear with me on this, okay? Please and thank you. Oh, and to help me get so I don't have to take so much notes, I plan on getting another camera or something to help me out, so that'll alleviate me having to take so much notes. So this is to help me remember exactly what happens in the chapter, because so much happens in these chapters that I can't remember everything. So that's why I do this. Anyways, chapter 1068 is titled A Genius's Dream. The chapter starts off with Pythagoras thanks CP0 for bringing Esper back to them, and says that they are busy. So he asks that you to order the Seraphim to return to the lab, and Kaku comments about it being cold, and Pythagoras says that G14 is nearby and they can welcome them. Lucci actually wonders if Vegapunk realizes that they are there to kill him, so to divert the attention away from that, he asks about the disappearances involving CP5, 7, and 8. Yeah, from 2 months ago, 1 month ago, and 2 weeks ago. And Pythagoras and Lilith insist that all those ships left port, and they don't know anything about the disappearances. Anyways, at going to Kamabaka real quick. Kuma uses his Papa powers to send him flying somewhere, which is at this point is an undisclosed location. Anyways, back at Egghead already. So that was like a minor thing about going away from Egghead, but we'll see how that goes later. So, anyways, back at Egghead, Vegapunk tells Luffy he wants to make energy abundant, and well, makes it abundant around the world, and Luffy has no interest. But Vegapunk continues that with enough energy around the world, that will get rid of the cause for war. And well, I mean, I think even if they had like an infinite amount of energy, there would still be war. So I mean, I guess this is just Vegapunk being naive and thinking that, but I mean, at least he has a thought to try to do this, so it's not really a bad thought on its own. It's just not realistic to think that he can get rid of War just by doing that. Anyways, Luffy asks why Vegapunk wants to leave the island, and Vegapunk, I guess, he says he wants to restore. He wants to recreate the power source that giant robot uses, since he is unable to do it right now, but he's been trying to recreate, but without much success at this point. And at this time, they hear an explosion. It's caused by CP0. They have now arrived at the island. And Vegapunk says that he's dug too deep in history, and he is now a target, basically. So basically, he just wants to live, and well, yeah, he shows no he doesn't hold back with asking for help. After CP0 arrives, the workers or citizens, I think, well, they might be both, realize that the citizens realize that CP0 are intruders because two of the giant, what were they called again? Two of the Sea Beast weapons were destroyed. So, and Shaka gives orders to evacuate everyone, and then tells, and also that for them to prepare for battle, and that includes with the Seraphim, of course, that they have, which is they have S Shark there, and it's, I think, shown later that they have more Seraphim there. Anyways, back to Luffy. He agrees to take Vegapunk because his head is weird, and that is just definitely Luffy. And I saw like a video from Tekking about this whole thing, and he was just saying that, oh, you should just take me on because you should take me on your ship because my head's weird, and Luffy would have just said, yeah, I see your point. I totally agree. That you can come on board. So it's just a Luffy thing that he would do. So, anyways, Vegapunk tells them to meet him at the level phase, and he goes invisible or teleports or something. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but he's fading away. He's disappearing. And Kaku goes on the offensive. It does a kick against one of the monsters, and is told by Stussy that not to bother because they're just holograms. And then Kaku again, without waiting or just checking on anything, just because he's already in the air, he continues to go up and is fired by the laser beam defense system that surrounds the Frontier Dome. And Stussy kind of explains this as Kaku's already going up to Lucci, and Kaku angrily uh, comments about how cold Stussy is, and she just laughs and says, "Well, you're warmed up now, aren't you?" And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, twisted sense of humor. But I mean, he was complaining about being cold, so it didn't really occur to me right away. But yeah, it kind of goes along with uh, that whole thing. And after this, Atlas charges at CP0 and is quickly taken out by Lucci. And shortly after that, Luffy comes along, and Luffy and Lucci take notice of each other. Anyways, that's it for chapter 1068. Now on to 1069. Chapter 1069 is titled All Things Are Brought into This World with Hope. A long title. And right at the start, Luffy asks Lucci why he's there, and Lucci just simply responds very casually that this is a government island, and Luffy recognizes that yeah, he's right, and they're the ones that shouldn't be there instead. At this point, right away, Kaku and Stussy recognize that since Luffy is now one of the four emperors, uh, Lucci cannot fight him until they have approval from the Navy first, because an incident could spark a war because of all the factions. And you know what? That didn't really stop Luffy from picking a fight with Big Mom and Kaido. But I mean, he did defeat them. With help, of course. Anyways, it's at this point Luffy notices Atlas's condition, which is she's pretty beat up. She's kind of parts are smoking and all that stuff. And Lucci tells him not to interfere in internal matter. And Luffy just says that she gave him food, so. Although technically, Atlas didn't give them food. It was a machine that. A vending machine that gave them food. So. Whatever. Anyway, back at Navy HQ, Sakazuki realizes that Vegapunk knew CP0's intent to kill him, and is told that Kizaru is on his way to Egghead, and he gives the order for Lucci to wait until the Navy arrives. And then we cut back over to Egghead, and what do we see? Luffy and Lucci are fighting in their awakened forms. I guess I'm not sure if Lucci has just awakened it, his devil fruit, in the last 2 years, but it's awakened now, and Luffy is in fifth gear, so Yeah. So it didn't take Luffy very long to get back into his awakened state. It's here that Shaka says that awakened Zoans tend to, what was his words? Absorb and control the user's personality. And Vegapunk asks about Luffy's form, and Nami says that they don't know either, and she asks that if it isn't just Luffy's Gum Gum power, and Vegapunk responds that in even in the oldest books about devil fruits, there is no such thing as a Gum Gum fruit. And he goes on to say that Luffy looks like Nika, which none of the Straw Hats recognize that name. And he says that they wouldn't know anything, of course, because it's been erased from history. And he just says that Nika is the sun god, and he will never, even though his name was erased from history, he will never truly disappear as long as people wish for him. Oh, this part is pretty important. This part's actually very important. Uh, well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how this goes in future stuff, how it's elaborated. But he reveals that every devil fruit is is a possibility for human evolution that someone desired. But all those unnatural powers are lulled by the sea, and those with powers exist in a different dimension, dreamed up by someone before them. So I'm not really sure what that means. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be taken quite literally about being in a different dimension, or if it's meant like metaphorically. But we'll see. I honestly can't really say much because I have nothing to say about that right now. After this reveal, Sentomaru arrives with S Hawk and wait a minute, no. Yes, S Shark, S Snake, and S Hawk. And Sentomaru was initially confused, saying that shouldn't they be on Cypherpole's side? And Vegapunk asks him what he should do since he saved his life. And Sentomaru was initially pressured by this, but he soon orders Esper to attack uh, the agents. And Stussy reflects that orders can't be given over transponder signals, and a diagram of the hierarchy is actually shown here. And the hierarchy is number one is the five elders. Then number two is Vegapunk, um, the main body and all six satellites. Then number three is Sentomaru, and number four is the authority chip owners, which that I guess Cypherpole be at the bottom since they have the authority chip. Sentomaru orders S Snake to take the Straw Hats to the vacuum rocket, and S Hawk and S Shark to hold back CP0. And then he asks Luffy if he's going to save Vegapunk, and Luffy tells him that he will, and Lucci strikes Sentomaru down and tells Seraphim to follow their orders. After that, I was not really. I was like thinking. Well, I didn't really think of this myself, but I definitely did soon agree with what other people have said, that Vegapunk should really make a system in the Seraphim so it's not so easy for them to be used to kill him. Like, you should at least. This is actually my idea, that he should have had a system in the Seraphim that they would follow like anyone's orders, but they would never follow orders that would endanger his own life. So I don't know if Vegapunk could have done that, but you should have definitely thought of something. Chapter 1070 is titled "The Strongest Form of Humanity," and right at the start, Satomu is fortunately still conscious, and he managed to defend himself at the last moment from Lucci's attack, although he wasn't able to defend it to block the attack completely. Right here, Luffy attacks Lucci with his Gum Gum Dawn whip, which causes him to spin out of control. And the two Seraphim begin attacking the agents. And Stussy is initially shocked by this too, thinking the fact that they're only children, and wondering how strong that they'll be once they're fully grown. And now I think about it, I'm starting to actually wonder like how strong they could be when they're fully grown, because I guess Cypher Bowl is supposed to be the best. Although these Cypher Bowl that they're fighting right now are basically fodder, but they're still Cypher Bowl. So, and Frankie notices S Shark using the swim powers, and he tearfully asks Vegapunk about it, and saying if this means that that Senior Pink is dead, and Vegapunk tells him that he's alive and he's currently imprisoned in Impel Down. So, that's a good thing. I mean, I would really like to see that whole thing about the drink between Frankie and Senior Pink. So, hopefully, we'll get to see that someday. Though, Vegapunk explains that Zoan powers can be artificially uh, produced if they ignore Caesar's smile aberrations, which Nami takes no time in interrupting, saying that he should uh, ignore that and Caesar deserves to die. And I can't really blame Nami still being upset with Caesar because I mean when I think about Punk Hazard, I am too. I don't. Caesar is like a bad person, so yeah, I definitely don't blame Nami for feeling this way. Vegapunk continues that he tried to recreate Logias, but they proved too difficult. However, Paramecia can be recreated with the help of green blood. And it's here the Straw Hats realize why the Seraphim were used to scrap this seven warlords. Anyways, the fight against Lucci continues, and Luffy creates goggles from his flames, smoke, or steam, whatever that stuff is that's in the back. He or was it his hair? It might have been his hair, but I'm not sure if it was. It was like whatever. It was either his hair or that stuff that was in the back. And he uses but yeah, he creates goggles out of that, and then he uses Dawn. Wait a minute. He uses Dawn rocket, and Esnake arrives at the rocket with the group with the group that's on the February phase, and Jinbei thanks her, and Snake is flustered. She's just basically a tsundere, and she just says that she's just following orders. Luffy manages to get on the rocket at the last minute, and it takes the rocket 32 seconds to travel up to the lava phase. And by this point, Sentomaru is defeated. The Straw Hats realize Vegapunk will be traveling with them, and Bonnie blames Vegapunk for using bugs against her, although those bugs were her fault, not Vegapunk's. And CP0 are now in control of the Seraphim, and the Navy is at the same time. Navy arrives with Kizaru in charge, and he let's see, what was it? Let's see here. He is informed that Straw Hats are helping Vegapunk, and he orders every able battleship to be sent to Egghead. Chapter 1071 is titled The Hero Deploys. Right at the start of this chapter, Kuma is shown flying through the air, and he crashes into the red line at the red port. And people flee the area after seeing who was that crashed and seeing that it was Kuma. Then back at Egghead, Lucci says he does not view Luffy as an emperor and doesn't see the need to wait for uh, didn't see the need to wait for the Navy as a result. At the same time, Shaka is analyzing the situation, and Lilith is ready to fight. And I mean, that I would expect no less from Lilith. And especially since um, I don't know where she got this, but she got like a huge futuristic gun that you see like space movies. So I don't know where that gun came from. And Pythagoras and Edison talk about an ally, and they're not very clear about who the ally is, and I have no idea who this person could be. I've heard like some ideas that it could be Saul, but it can't be Saul because he should be on Elbaf, and I think they even specifically said he was on Elbaf, so it's not Saul. Um, I I think I did hear something that it could be like some of Roger's crew that could be there, but I mean, but me, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know who would be there and why they would be there in the first place. But regardless, they have an ally on the island, and Vegapunk takes no time to call this ally up, and that person says that he was waiting for him to give the order. Then, then after this, the satellites and Vegapunk talk about leaving Egghead, and Vegapunk formally asks the Straw Hats to take all 7 of them on their ship. And right as all this stuff was going on, the Frontier Dome is deactivated, and all the satellites assess the situation, and they see no one. They see no one on the monitor. That no one is in the control room. So it's not really clear like how the power got turned off, or but it's kind of a mystery for me at this point. But anyways, CP0 actually takes this chance, and after spotting the Sunny, Kaku launches an attack to destroy it, and Zoro wakes up from his nap and uh, blocks the attack, like at the last possible second. But I guess, well, I mean that's kind of redundant, but yeah. So that was. Then he's like, Zoro's just kind of annoyed that someone interrupted his nap. So don't want to go interrupting Zoro when he's sleeping. And anyways, Shortly after that, though, he soon begins fighting Kaku, and Pythagoras and Shaka restore the Frontier Dome. And Lilith is glad that there will be fighting after all. I just hope that none of the satellites die. I mean, especially, I definitely don't want Lilith to die. And don't kill Vegapunk. And I don't really want Shaka to die either. But I guess I'm okay with the others because the others are not that important. And Lilith was the first one we met, so I definitely want her to live. So if she dies, I will be very upset. Anyways, to get back on track, Luffy is disappointed to be leaving already, but he is told by the rest of the crew that they are on a government island and they don't want to deal with Lucci anymore. And Bonnie attacks Vegapunk and asks if he can turn her father back or not. And he just answers, no, he can't, and there is a reason for that. Well, he has a good reason, anyways. I don't know what the good reason is, but after this, regardless, we cut over a Kid who arrives. The Kid Pirates arrive outside an island, and where do they arrive at? Well, they arrive at Elbaf. So I wonder if this means if the Shronets will be going there or not. But I think they have to go there. Well, I mean, they don't have to go there. It would just be nice though, because Saul is there, and they don't really need to go there because I mean, Vegapunk has memorized all the stuff in the books. So as long as they got Vegapunk there, well, I mean, Robin would want to just read it. So I mean, they gotta go to Elbaf because Robin's going to want to read that stuff. She's not going to just want to hear it. She's going to want to read it for herself. Garp arrives at G14 to pick up Helmeppo and is asked by Doll if he's got approval to fight against one of the emperors, and he just asks why would he get that, and this is just definitely some freaking Garp, and it was just funny with like the transponder he had, like there was a question mark, and he was just like confused about why he would have approval. I thought that was funny, and it is funny. And anyways, so anyways, Garp is there to pick up Helmeppo, and it says that they're going straight to Full Lead to fight the Blackbeard pirates and to rescue Kobe. So that is everything for chapters 1068 to 1071. I don't really have much to say, and considering the fact that 1072 is just coming out really soon, I'm going to hold off on saying anything. Although, the next time you'll see me, I guess I'll see you after. I'll be doing chapters 1072 to 1074. assuming that we get like 3 chapters, but I'm sure we will. So I'll see you guys in that next video. Bye.